What's up, everybody? This is Josh from Music Lesson here. I just had a couple of thoughts on my mind. A little bit different format today. Just wanted to have kind of a discussion. I've got my violin in front of me, which you guys can't see, but I may play in a minute. Who knows? We'll see. This is more of a free-flowing thought thing that I've got with an outline here. So let me just give you the title. The title that I have written down is Music and Health: Help Others by Helping Yourself. Um, yeah, I know it sounds really, really cheesy, but it's late and that's the best thing I could come up with right now. So, um, here's the deal. All right. During crazy, uncertain times like the current health crisis that we have right now, um, things get a little nutty. People's minds wander and it becomes difficult to focus. I see that most notably and most certainly in a lot of my students. And one of the things that I thought about um, is that what we have right now is we have an extreme lack of structure in our lives. Um, Kids, a lot of their school has been delayed. Some of them are going hybrid. They're half school during the day, they're half online or virtual, however you want to say it. Parents, sometimes your work schedule is insane. Some of you aren't even working. Um, some of you who are working are doing it in vastly different ways than you did before this situation took off. So, what I want to encourage you to do, I'm going to do a lot of encouraging today, hopefully. What I want to encourage you to do is, first and foremost, I want you to, specifically those of you who are learning an instrument, I want you to set up your practice routine as if it was a, it's going to sound odd, but a clock to be punched. Okay. And I know I always say practice 4 to 5 days a week. We're going to bump that up to 7. And if there were 8 days, I would say practice 8 days a week. And the reason is this: you don't have to practice a very long time each time that you practice, but by doing that, and of course, obviously, this comes along with maintaining the goals that you've established for your instrument, what you're trying to accomplish, what songs you want to work on, what technique you want to work on, so on and so forth. Um, the whole point of this is you're controlling what you can control so that what you can't control is less mentally and physically draining. Okay? You can control how much you practice. You can control, to a certain extent, your progress. You can control those things. And that's what I want you to try to do. I want you to try to control those things in your life. Okay? That's not to say that you're going to get it all right. That's not to say that this is going to be a panacea or a silver bullet that's going to help you stay calm, collected, cool, and centered. There's a lot of other things that can do that. I am a music teacher, so I'm going to focus on the music aspect of it. That's my main thing as far as that goes. Set up a steady practice and ideally the same time every day. So if you get up first thing in the morning, you've got 20 minutes, you've got 30 minutes extra that you can practice, do that then. Okay? You get home from work, or maybe it's in the middle of the day, right after lunch, whatever, right before lunch. You're going to set up 30 minutes. You get home from work, set up 30 minutes. Don't do anything. Maybe just take off your clothes, get a shower, wash hands, whatever. Go straight and practice. Right after dinner, right before dinner, practice. Right before bed, practice. Pick any one of those times. Any one of those times is going to work for you. Okay? And the reason, again, going back to you set up a time every single day, you are going to benefit more from this than you realize because, again, it's first of all, you're progressing in your instrument, which is inherently satisfying, right? You're getting better and better. Second of all, it is again controlling what you can control so that what you can't control is less um, mentally draining, less jarring. Um, it's weird how this works out, but your body and your brain almost perceive it as a threat. Okay. And that's what we don't want. We don't want to perceive it as a threat necessarily right now because that induces too much. To me, my opinion, not a doctor, not a psychologist, but to me, the way my brain works induces too much of a fight or flight response, and I think less rationally. Okay. And so anyway, that's a little bit of my advice on that respect. So the other thing, of course, is planning. Part of that is planning. What am I working on? What techniques do I want to learn? What techniques do I want to progress with? Setting out what I'm going to do for my practice routine, and what's my goal in a month? What's my goal in 3 months? What's my goal in 6 months? A year, right? And just kind of narrow that down. And that's going to dovetail into a couple other things that we want to talk about here. The next thing is use music to help you relax. But it's important. I've found that there are two types of listeners when it comes to music. Now, I'm specifically talking about listening to music, not necessarily playing your music, just FYI. So we're switching gears just a little bit here. There are two types of listeners. There's one who listens for the music, and there's one who listens for the lyrics. Okay. Um, I like both personally. I think when I personally want to either disengage, escape, or let my mind wander, I go for music. Sometimes that is music without lyrics. Sometimes it's not. It depends. If I want to let my mind wander, I'll go to a groove jam song. Flip, changing gears entirely, I'll go to classical music. Maybe I'll go to there's some R&B slash soul songs that are long and they're slow. I let my mind kind of wander with that. The reason that I let my mind wander with that, in whatever way, I'll specify. Sometimes it's, man, hey, there's a cool little solo I could throw in there. Cool little ditty I could do right there. Oh, that was a great note that I just heard. What you're doing is you're allowing your brain, which has been kind of running on a treadmill, but in a shotgun spread fashion, to either A, get out all of the craziness that's going on in your brain, and B, focus things just a little bit more. Okay, so it kind of pushes all that other stuff out. You get a little bit more focused. The things that were causing a little bit of um, uncertainty or scatterbrainness kind of get lost, at least in that moment, because you're focusing on just something. This is going to sound weird, but by letting your mind wander, you're focusing on the path and not necessarily one thing specifically, because as your mind wanders, it's kind of like stream of conscious thing. You go from one subject to the next subject to the next subject. There's nothing wrong with that, because what ends up happening is that's how I find that I get a lot of inspiration. Okay, now the important thing for me is I have to write this stuff down, because I go so far afield that when I get a good idea or I find a good mile marker, I've got to write it down or I'll lose it. So have a pen and piece of paper ready, maybe. And you can write some important things down that you think about while you're listening to the music. But that's just me. So back to the subject matter of I'm probably more of a music listener. Okay. So I probably lean towards music without lyrics. Okay. But that's just me. Now, that doesn't mean that music with lyrics are not worth listening to. Sometimes there's a message that resonates with you, that allows you to think about something. Okay, maybe not so much of a just running stream of consciousness into different subject matters. Maybe, again, more of a focused thought process on that idea, that thing. But that can spawn some more thinking that goes down into a little bit of a rabbit hole. Maybe not so crazy as just the letting your mind run, letting your mind wander, but that can still cause your mind to kind of go from this gigantic swarm of everything to at least a pathway, right? And believe it or not, that pathway is actually going to allow your brain to relax just a little bit. I know it's kind of a weird way. This is my own personal experience. And I've done some study on the way the brain works. I'm not a psychologist. Please take this with a grain of salt. I've studied a little bit about the way the brain works so that I can help teach students better. Okay. Um, but obviously keep in mind that this is just my opinion. At the end of the day, I'm not giving you psychology advice or anything like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Um, so are you a music listener? Are you a lyric listener? Find that out. Facilitate that with the type of songs that you put on your playlist or that you listen to. Okay. And also, there's songs that just help you relax a little bit more than others. I will say this, just my personal experience. I love metal music. Depending on the mood that I'm in, I will listen to metal if I'm feeling really riled up, Believe it or not, I get out a little bit of that aggression. Maybe play on my guitar, maybe do some heavy riffs, stuff like that. Feels good. Nice release. Once I'm done with that, though, I will actually start transitioning to something a little more mild. Okay, maybe some classic rock or something like that. And then I'll transition into something even a little more mild than that. Maybe go back into some 50s, maybe listen to a doo-wop or something like that. Maybe transition to some classical music, maybe transition to some soul, some R&B or something like that. Something that's not really crazy, not really fast, not really agitated, right? Um, Very, very good to kind of wind yourself down a little bit. Okay, just a piece of advice from me to you. Doesn't work for everybody, works for me. Try it out, see if it works for you. Okay, I almost hesitated to talk about this, but here we go. Okay, recently, and this is the subject matter of live music. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do with live music during this time and after this time? I love the idea of drive-in concerts. Love them. They're so cool to me. Very neat, very fun, um, but require some discipline. You know what? I don't even know that I'm gonna. Yeah, we'll see. I don't even know if I'm gonna put the comment of the group that I'm thinking about in here, but we'll leave it be for now. Um, I love the concept of a drive-in concert. I think it's a blend of new and old-fashioned that breeds both nostalgia for somebody like me. I'm not that old at all, but I go to drive-in movie theaters and drive-in events a lot when I was younger, um, and it's very cool. It's a neat thing to sit in the car with people that you know and do that. Simultaneously requires discipline, just because you're trying to stay safe. City ordinances are what they are. State ordinances are what they are. I'm not going to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of that. You kind of have to compartmentalize and go, this is what the state says that they're doing, and we have to do that. I've seen some people say live music is dead, or at least for the time being. Um, it's not dead, perhaps on life support. It's not dead, can be pretty rapidly revitalized. And I sincerely look forward to the day when we can get back to the old way that we used to do live music. I've also seen some articles of people talking about how music will never return to the way it was. Look, this is going to be probably controversial to some of you. Things will get back to normal. They will. Look, you want history? 1918, 1919, 1920. By 1921, 22, blowing and going again. You can say, well, it's a different time. This is a different circumstance. I don't disagree. I do not disagree. At some point, this will end. We will move forward. The goal is to try to do it, obviously, as safely as possible. We will get back to the way things were. Okay? I don't mean to be a downer. I'm not trying to be. I'm actually trying to be encouraging. We will get back to the way things were. It's going to take some time. Um, what will the scene look like when we get there? I have no idea. Maybe it will bring about a change in the industry. Maybe it will entrench the powers that are in the industry right now. Speaking of the music industry specifically. Um, Maybe we'll be doing some different things by then. Maybe technology will have eclipsed things more. I personally am looking for the day when we can do video chats with zero latency. If you're a tech person out there, let's do it. Let's make that happen, man. I know there's limitations. I've read up on it so much. But if we can figure out a way to do that, that would be amazing. Because then I could play my violin or my guitar or my drums or whatever with you 3,000 miles away, be perfectly in time. We will have a blast. It will be amazing. Okay? And I know you can kind of do it with closed circuit things right now, but I'm talking about internet stuff. If you can do that over the internet, woo, let's do it. Let's make it work. Maybe I'm being a little optimistic at the moment, but you know, hey, a guy can dream, right? Um, okay, moving forward, we will get back to normal. I want to encourage you about that. We will. Stay encouraged. This is not to tell you to not be careful. We need to be careful. We need to take precautions. Simultaneously, I want you to also play music with people who you know you can do it safely. And I'm serious about that. One thing that we don't realize as musicians, and even if we think we're private individuals, and that we do music for ourselves, you do not realize how important it is for you to play music with somebody else. It's not just socialization. You are engaging in a level of creation and creativity, not just creativity, but creation and vice versa, that we take for granted. We used to take for granted. I mean, yes, you can do it over the internet and just combine the files, you know, you do it in your own DAW and so on and so forth. But there's a level of creativity there that is incredible. So if you've got a couple of musicians in your household, you got a couple of musicians that you've been, you know, social distancing with, so on and so forth, um, get together and make that music. Seriously. Do it safely. Do it as safe as you possibly can. But gosh, it is necessary as a musician. You don't understand what it does inside of here and up here too. You will function better. But again, do it safely. All right. Last thing I want to say is, um, I encourage you to share your music with everybody, as many people as you can, regardless of your skill level. It's going to be scary. It will, 100%. But simultaneously, I want to encourage you to do this. Take a couple recordings, maybe post just one a month, you know, at your skill level. Um, People will be supportive. You'd be surprised. Okay. And if they're not supportive, just tell them thanks for your comment. Move along. Okay. Um, Having something to do like that is going to give your practicing, your struggling to improve a little bit more meaning. If nothing else, record yourself once a week, once a month, and hold on to those recordings. And when you feel good about yourself, maybe post them. Don't even post them to social media necessarily. Maybe just do a group text. Text it to your friends. You know, show that to them. All right. All right. So that's what I just wanted to say to you. That's what I want to do to encourage you. Uh, Hopefully this helps you. Hopefully you can use this to improve. Hopefully you can use this to keep moving forward in what you're doing right now. I just hope to be here to answer your questions and be encouragement to everybody when it comes to music. Remember, music is magic, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.